Friends, today we will try to understand about the steel work that will be done for roof casting, which will include beam and slab reinforcement. So here you can get to understand the best practices that we would follow at our site, so that you will get to know what are the things that you should be aware of and what are the points that you should be focus in order to get a good workmanship as well as output. So if you see, this is the work for slab reinforcement is ready, shuttering work is ready. We have already checked the levels of the shuttering work, and now the barbenter has started his work for steel reinforcement. The first thing that barbenter will do here is he has to raise the column lapping and he has to finish the column work at first instance. Why should we do it is, when we do the work at this stage of column lapping, you will get a proper lapping of the rods, and that will help us to get a proper strength for all the columns. So now what you are seeing is there are around 15 beams for this project in this floor mat. We will try to explain them one by one wherever whatever information needs to be understood. If you see, there are out of 15 beams that are available, so all the beams may not be of the same depth, all the beams may not be of the same size. The reinforcement steel that will be used from in the middle or on the top or the bottom may vary from one beam to another. Even the depth may change, which may not be compulsory, or it purely depends on the load that is acting, and based on that whatever the structure design would have been done at that point to take the load. What you are seeing here is a beam where there is a bottom and top rod. In between there is one more length of rods that you can see, but you don't see that in the entire length, but that is running in a in between space for some length of span. Why this is happening, or why is this is because based on the load that is being acting at that point, to transfer the load or to accept the load, there may be a need of additional reinforcement steel which will continue for certain amount of length, but it doesn't extend through the entire length of the beam. So you should be aware that it is not just 4 rods where the beam is tied with the stirrup, but always based on the design, the in between connecting rods may change, and based on the load to transfer it effectively, there may be additional rods that may be coming for that length of span, and the reinforcement steel bars which will be used may not be of a same diameter as well. If one beam is of 12 mm rod of 4 numbers, the other beam may be of 16 mm, or it can be of 20 mm as well. And also you should know that it is not that just a material that is going to make the difference in the site. It purely depends on the workmanship. The workmanship plays a very important role, where that will define the outcome of the work that is being done to finish the work at that stage. If you see this beam, you can see an additional rods that is being placed, where both the columns which is coming horizontally from this side and that side, both are interlinked, and then that has been placed in position. You can see that the length of the rods are changing. You can see the diameter of the steel is also varying, and all the beams that is coming in the junction are tied and interconnected in a right fashion. How this happens is with a proper monitoring at site. Friends, now let us little more understand about workmanship of the work. So if we just dump the material at site and provide the drawings to the labor team, if we think so that the work will be done, no, it doesn't happen in that way. They may know how to read the drawing, but the work that they do may not be of a superior quality. That means there are every chances of every mistake that they commit or make on a regular basis. So how do we avoid that at site is, we have our engineering team where engineer will study the drawing. They will be at the site from morning till evening, and they guide and instruct the laborers to do the work according to the drawing, so that every aspect of the design that needs to be followed, which is in the drawing, will be followed at site. In that way the workmanship is guaranteed and the work that is done at site is of a best quality. So now what you can see in this image is, most of the other projects, what I have noticed is they disconnect the beam that runs in the staircase area. Please do not do so. All the columns and all the beams at every floor has to be connected. Only then the stability of the structure will be achieved. So now you are seeing, after the beam work is done, the roof reinforcement steel work is going on. So here what you have to know is, always when there is a roof, the design of the roof is done in different ways. So what we have followed is making the design with top and bottom mat. When I say top and bottom mat, how do you understand that is, when the typical thickness of a roof is 5 inches, there will be a top mat of the steel and there will be a bottom mat of the steel with a distance of 3 inches in between, and a covering concrete of 1 inch at the bottom and 1 inch on the top. So altogether it will sum up to 5 inch of concrete, where the steel is placed in the center at a 3 inch of distance with covered concrete of 1 inch at the bottom and 1 inch on the top. So this is done so to give a protective covering to the steel with the concrete, so that the steel doesn't corrode with the atmospheric condition, and give a long length life to the concrete, adding to more strength which is transferred to the beams and columns. So that's about the workmanship. And if you see carefully, the top mat and the bottom mat are connected through the chairs, which we call it as support, and you can also see the spacing and the bars has been supported with the covering blocks. So this also speaks about the workmanship, where if you see in our video, the distance of placing the chairs as well as the column covering blocks is uniformly done, and it is made sure that the chair gives adequate and sufficient support to both top and bottom mat of the steel, and the bottom mat is supported with covering concrete blocks that will help us to lift the steel for 1 inch of thickness, which is derived at required to cast the concrete of 5 inches. You can carefully observe, friends, how workmanship is done. The length of the steel is extended till the edge of the beam, and the covering blocks is also given in the beam at the bottom and also on both the sides, so that even there we can achieve the proper distribution of concrete and achieve the result as expected. Now you can see that both roof reinforcement, column reinforcement and the beam reinforcement work is done, and you can see how well and how beautifully the work has been done at site. The spacing, the lifting of bottom and top mat, the connecting to the beams, connecting to the columns, and the chairs support that is given, and how it is been carried out from one end of the slab to the another end effectively and efficiently. So these are all the points which you should be aware when a reinforcement work is done for roof and slab. You can see now how clear it is. You can see number of chairs that we have used, and that is at a regular intervals. And now if you just walk there, you can get to see how sturdy the frame has been done, so that when the concrete is poured, you achieve that stability of both bonding between steel and the concrete once it is casted. Now electrical work is also done. We are just showing to you once the work is done how you can get to see how the work is done, and how you should compare this when the work is being done at your site as well. Friends, if you like this video and the information of this video, subscribe to our channel, like and share our videos. If you have any questions, post them on the comment section.